So if you can just introduce yourself. And
I'm Dave Seddon and I'm the principal of Baxter College. I have been since 2003.
Okay, now that answers one of the questions on there, Morgan.
Which was?
Of how long have you been here?
Yeah. How long has the school been here?
The school itself, there was a building built in 1938 on land that was bequeathed by Harry Cheshire, who was the mayor of Kidderminster. But it changed to become Baxter College in 2002.
Can you remember what the school's results for your first year?
Absolutely. Disastrous. Yeah, it was 13% got 5 A to C's and 8% got 5 A to C's with English and Maths.
And what was the results this year?
95% got 5 A to C's and 46% got 5 A to C's with English and Maths.
What else do you think has improved apart from the grades?
Let me stop you there. It's not about examination grades. This school, that's a byproduct. It's not an exam factory. What it is about turning out young men and women that are going to make a contribution to society, have a happy life, rather than how many GCSEs have you got. It's just coincidence in a way, by addressing a lot of the personal qualities, that the results have improved as a byproduct really. But we haven't just set out to say we must improve the exam. Yes, of course we must, but what's the point of having 16 GCSEs if nobody likes you, if you can't work with people, if you don't get on at work, if you're dishonest? GCSEs count for nothing. And it's those, if there's one single thing that has made the difference from the crisis school that it was to where we are today, it's the dynamics within the school. It's how people relate to each other, kid to kid, kid to staff, staff to staff. That's the bit that's different.
So does that mean bullying is quite low in the school then?
There's not a school in England where there isn't some form of bullying.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's only a big kid pushing a little kid out of the way, or like this week, a year 11 kid calling a year 7 kid big ears. Right? The year 7 kid was distraught, because he had, he took it personally, and they hadn't thought that. Now that's a different type of bullying, because people assault bullying with fists and stuff like that. But there's cyberbullying. There's all forms of it where you're being disrespectful. And I think one of the things that is much more prevalent is that there's a respect for people and who you are, rather than just because you're the teacher or whatever.
What's the best part of your job?
I don't think there's any one best part. This may sound arrogant, but looking back, having made a difference to kids' life chances, 2003, it doesn't matter how good you were tarred with the brush of going to Harry Cheshire School. You went for a job and people said, which school did you go to? Oh, it's that crisis school. And it sort of affected everybody. And I think just turning that perception that it's no longer a crisis school, that it's a good school, I think that's the... If I look back on what we've achieved, we've won loads of awards, we've changed the whole fabric of the building. But the one thing that I think will stand out to me is that people get on with each other now. There's a lovely atmosphere in school most of the time, and it wasn't when I started.
So judging by that, there is no worst part of your job then?
Oh, there's parts that if I had a choice I wouldn't do. I've been ahead for 21 years, and I've never come to terms yet with the amount, the volume of stuff that you expect it to shift. And I would rather spend time with students, and I don't spend enough. I make a point of walking around school every day and popping in and out of lessons, but I don't have that same day-to-day contact with children that a lot of teachers do, and I miss that. I have to deal with a lot of politicians. I have to deal with governments that I disagree with, that to try and make it all work. Nasty people sometimes, Parents who don't like what we're doing sometimes. But those are the minor things that they had a choice I'd do away with. but the bulk of the rest of it, I love it to bits.
When you have new teachers coming here, what do you tell them not to do, what to look out for?
Before they get to that stage, they've got to have passed a sort of. They have to go through an interview, but it's almost a. I want to know what they stand for, rather than how many GCSEs have they got, what kinds of your degree or stuff like that. It's what have you done with your life so far? How are you going to influence and inspire kids to do well? And people who come for an interview and don't talk about we and us, but talk about I, me, don't get appointed or don't last very long here if they do. And I look for people that have got a similar values to me. Not that they do it the same way, but that this school is here to provide an education for kids. It's not here to provide employment for staff, me included. And if somebody starts to get a little bit uppity about them, that's when, because it should be my job to look after them, not them have to look after themselves.
And as we've seen around the school, why hold an autumn fair?
Why hold an autumn fair? Because it's one way of uniting community. It's one of our biggest fundraisers of the year, and I think it's giving a little bit back in a different form to what schools are all about. You know, there's a lot of people who've come today that have not been before, or have been brought by the kids, or you know, and it's a good bit of publicity if you've never set foot in the school, and I think it's important that we are seen not to be just an education factory.
Brilliant. Now this is where Morgan will be interested. It's just talking very quickly of staff when you interviewed me. Can you remember the one question you did ask me?
No.
About what comedy I liked?
Oh, what makes you laugh?
Or what makes you laugh?
What makes you laugh?
And I struggled on that because it took me by surprise, but then can you remember what you said after that?
No.
He said, yeah, I'm only asking you, sir, because you look a right miserable bastard, he said. And that's the honest truth, was what Sir told me in the interview. So that's why I like working
Because
here.
you know from your own teachers, there's nothing worse than getting a miserable teacher, is there? You'll know that from your school, won't you? What's worse? You know, it's hard enough having to do stuff you don't like, but if you've got a miserable teacher delivering it, that's terrible. So you've got to have a sense, to be a good teacher, you've got to have a sense of humour. It's essential.
I'll second that.
I would
Brilliant.
much rather have a laugh and fun than be, you know, it's a hard job, it's a stressful job at times, but it's how you look at it. The bottle of milk is always half full, it's never half empty.
Brilliant.
Have you come for me, miss?
That's excellent.
Yes, and for the keys as well, Miss Buckley's keys you've got.
That's great. Thank you very much, Dave.
You're welcome.